So I just want to welcome you to this year's event. And as you know, we've got sessions all week long. Today we've got Medicaid. Tomorrow we've got Medicare. On Wednesday we've got United Healthcare. On Thursday we've got Anthem Blue Cross. And on Friday we've got Ambetter and also Humana. So we've got a pretty good lineup. I've asked the payers to present for about 20 or 30 minutes with some updates that they have. You're going to find that some are a little bit longer than others, but I also wanted to make sure that they left plenty of time for questions and answers at the end of their updates. So I appreciate that. I'm going to share my screen here. We've got Janie Griffin Weaver from Gainwell Technologies. She's a field services rep that handles South Georgia. Many of you have known Janie for a long, long time. She's been a good friend to Georgia HFMA, and it's just my pleasure to welcome her. Janie, take yourself off mute. Hopefully she's able to do that. There we go.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I can. You're
Hey.
gonna probably need to speak up just a little bit, but I'm about to share my screen to include your presentation, and we'll get going with that. We'll get going with that here shortly. Hold on for me.
I'll wait to see that. And good afternoon to everyone else. I hope you all can hear me pretty well now. I did turn it up, Bill.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure I get the right screen here.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you just yet, but I'm about to. Can you see the screen now?
No, I can't see your screen.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. You're on the phone. So just drive and tell me, folks, these calls are being recorded this week. So if for some reason you missed something, we'll be sure to have that posted to the chapter YouTube page here before long. But Janie, I've got your first slide up here giving your agenda. If you want to step through that, I'll go ahead and turn my camera off, and I'll be here to address any questions that people might have.
Okay. So in the agenda, we will be discussing inpatient Part B only claims. We're going to go through outlier submission. We're going to do policy updates, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Okay, and let me, if you all bear with me 1 minute, because I'm trying to bring up my slides so I can get it going along with you, Bill. Okay, so with the inpatient Part B only claims, we wanted to talk about this because there are still claims that's being submitted incorrectly. And Bill, I'm on slide 4. There are still claims that's being submitted incorrectly, so we want to make sure that all providers are aware of how these claims need to be submitted. The purpose of inpatient Part B only claims is because the Part B charges has either exhausted or the member didn't have them at all. So basically, we're just making you all aware that the providers must submit the Part B ancillary charges to Medicare first. Once you submit the claim over to Medicare, Medicare will either cross it over to us, or you, the provider, will have to submit that. And Medicaid will then pay on the coinsurance and or the deductible, but it will only happen up to the Medicaid maximum allowed amount. Okay, once the Part B claim has been reimbursed from Medicaid, that is then where the provider will need to submit the inpatient claim. The problem that we're having is when some providers are submitting the inpatient claims, you all are not submitting it for the total charges. So on that inpatient 111 type of bill, you must include all of your charges, your inpatient charges as well as the outpatient charges, and you must attach the Medicare and Medicaid EOBs with that claim so it can process accordingly. Okay, so after you've attached all of that, before you attach it, you need to make sure, and I'm on slide 5, you need to make sure that you've entered the Medicare payment as well as the Medicaid payment. So your acronyms on that payment file line will be MB and MC. So you will show what Medicare paid as well as what Medicaid paid. Now with that line, you're going to total. If you have multiple EOBs, you're going to total what those payments are. And you'll put all of Medicare's under one and all of Medicaid's under the other. If you receive a zero payment from Medicaid, you still have to enter it as zero, and you still have to attach that EOB to the claim. Okay, so once you've done all of that, your claim will have to suspend. And it's going to suspend because that is when you're going to upload those attachments. Your attachment code will be EB. You can attach it under MI or any of the others. EB indicates that it is your EOBs. If you are not using EB, that claim will deny. Okay, so once you've entered all of that, once the upload is selected, it will open up the new browser window, and you will then be able to attach whatever that those EOBs are that you're uploading. I'm on slide 6. Once that takes place, you have your multiple attachments on the claim, and the system will then let you know that the upload was successful. Okay, after it is successful, it will still be in suspense, and it's going to stay in suspense for up to 30 days. Allow the claims to process through before you try to resubmit anything else. If you forgot to attach something, or even if you think that it's going to deny or it looks as though it may deny for whatever, allow that claim to complete the process. And once that process is complete, then hopefully you will receive your reimbursement. Now, if you're still second guessing how you need to submit these claims, we have the presentation posted under the provider notices, and the title of it is Inpatient Part B Only, Hospital Inpatient Part B Only, and it was posted August 14th of 2020. So we're going to talk about outliers for a minute. I'm on slide 8. So what's the purpose of outliers? The purpose of outliers is basically indicating to providers that your claim, due to the DRG, due to the high dollar amount, your from and through dates of service, there's a lot of things that come into play with that, but your claim may qualify for additional reimbursement. You'll know when your claim is up for an outlier because when it's paid on that inlier, your DRG reimbursement is going to have an edit code of 4399. 4399 is what indicates that it qualifies for an outlier. You all have 3 months to get that outlier to us, okay? So there's a presentation that was posted on that as well under the provider notices. And you can find that information out on the provider notice part. What's the date? November of 2016 is where it's going to show. So there are still some providers that's asking if they can submit these claims in hard copy. No, ma'am. No, sir, you cannot. We posted a banner message October 1st of 2016 indicating that we will no longer accept any paper outlier requests. The outlier request has to be submitted electronically. You all have that information under that November 2016 presentation. It was a hospital presentation, and that information is coming from Alliant Health with how you need to go through the process of submitting that through. Okay, so the hospital must submit the required information, which will display at the time of the electronic request. This is when you're going through Alliant Health, okay? The itemized bill is required with all outliers. So that's going to be the first thing that has to go with that claim. And once that's submitted, request submitted without the required documentation will not be accepted. So you must know exactly what it is that has to go through. Your outlier is going to be the first portion of that submission. And I'm sorry, not outlier, your itemized bill would be the first portion of that. Once the outlier request has been submitted to Alliance for review, providers, you need to be aware that you cannot adjust the claim, void a claim, any of that once that outlier is submitted. You must wait until everything has been completed. Once Alliant Health reviews the information that has been sent in, then if it's a problem, you still do not adjust or void. You have to send that in writing, and we'll go into that in a minute. But we also need for you to understand providers who repeatedly request adjustments and or voids generating the need for a positive adjustment, you may be subject to an action by DCH. So please, please, please follow the correct process for that. So the problem that we've been having with outliers more so than anything is providers are submitting them in the incorrect format. On this slide 10, this is where or how the outlier should be submitted. The itemized bill must be submitted in that exact format. So there are providers that where you see the column header should be as follows. Providers will put account hyphen number, data service, or date hyphen of hyphen service. It cannot be submitted like that. It should be account underscore number, date underscore of underscore service. And the same thing falls for the revenue code, the item entered, description, all of that. Your file should only contain the data elements. As is stated here, we do not need a format showing blank rows, page numbers, headers, footers, things of that nature. If that is submitted, your claim will deny. Okay, so we received a couple of CTNs from providers that were stating, well, Janie, I looked at my outlier and it's saying that the dates of service is outside of the admission date, so they've denied for that. That is not a denial, and hopefully you should not be seeing that incorrect information anymore. That's something that should have been updated by now to where it won't deny for that. You will have claims that pertain to outliers that will fall outside of your from and through dates of service because these are members that came in through the emergency room or through observation. So the dates of service for the observation as well as that emergency room may be different from the date of admission. So do not try to alter all of that to fit because that's incorrect. You submit it the way that it needs to go. If a member was in observation 4/17, and today is 4/18, and Dr. Brown decided to admit today, you're going to use the admit date of 4/17. However, your documentation, your itemized bill, your medical records, all of that will give the information that will indicate that the patient was or the member was in the emergency room at that time of service. So that should not be a problem anymore for you. Hopefully, if you all follow these instructions, your outlier will be reimbursed correctly, and there shouldn't, be a problem with them. So as you all know, there are updates that always come about after presentations has been submitted for Medicaid. So we just want to provide, and I'm on slide, Bill, I'm sorry. I'm on slide 11.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. So the updates that we have for you today pertains to the HCPCS codes of 2022. So I'm aware we're in April. The new HCPCS codes became effective in January. Gainwell Technology and DCH is still working on those codes. You're receiving the denial edit code that does state procedure code is invalid for the date of service. If you know that that is a new code that became effective January 1st of 2022, my recommendation to you all would be to create your spreadsheet with those ICN numbers on it. So once we do complete the process of those claims and we're ready to do the mass adjustment on those claims, you can go back and do your checks and balances to make sure all of your claims did reprocess appropriately. If there are any of those claims that are missed, you have 30 days from the date of that reprocess to create that CTN to us and say, hey, ICN number 21, whatever, denied, or 20, whatever, denied, and it was not reprocessed for the new HCPCS updates. Also, keep in mind, just as we have new codes that became effective January 1st, we have old codes that have been terminated. So if you have a denial and it's an old code, your denial is correct. Okay, just either resubmit your claim if you have a code that'll go in place of it. So when that mass adjustment takes place, that claim will show that new code. If, let me stop. That's wrong. If it's an old code that has terminated, then the denial is valid. Okay, if it's a new code and you get that denial, it's invalid. Okay, and the old code would terminate as of December 31st of 2021. Okay, the other update I have for you all is the workshop that we are now doing for the month of April. So that is on a provider enrollment overview. I think this is really something that providers need to attend because they're talking about a lot of your information that pertain to enrollment, which would lead to this last bullet. So DCH was able to identify that there was some fraudulent schemes that was involving banking information for some providers, to where your change of information request had been submitted, and the names that's on that information is not correct. Okay, it should have been, instead of it saying Janie Griffin Weaver, it should have said Sharita Banks or Sharita Bentley. Okay, so make sure that someone from either your credentialing department or someone that deals with this type of information for your provider enrollment does attend one of those workshops. I know normally you all would probably be thinking, well, no, we don't need to do that because it doesn't pertain to the claims. but it does, because that's your money. That's your change of information. That's your provider enrollment documentation. What if we move from one location to another location? Or one of the big things that we've ran into is, what if your business office is outsourced to another company, and that company needs to have the rights to do the things that needs to be done under provider enrollment? So this is good knowledge, and I think that it will benefit everyone to attend that presentation for that workshop.
Jamie, we had a question. We had a question come in.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question that came in the chat. Since the new codes have not been loaded, do we have any assurances that the old codes have been removed?
None of that has been completed as of yet. Once everything is completed, then that's when I can say most definitely everything is correct. However, as of today, what my recommendation would be, if you get a claim and that claim is denying, saying procedure code is not valid for the dates of service, if it's an old code, then that denial may be correct. Okay, I would really say it's correct because it's an old code. However, if it's a new code, I would go ahead and do as I recommended. Create the spreadsheet, put the ICN number on there, and once we do the mass adjustment, you can do your checks and balances to make sure that the claim processed accordingly.
Okay, I've got another question for you. Person says, we're following the same instructions that are outlined in your presentation regarding outliers, and Alliant Health continues to reject our outlier cases as IB is not formatted correctly. We can't find or locate any what?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
They can't find or locate any discrepancies or anything wrong with the itemized bill formatted incorrectly. So what do they need to do as providers if the IB is formatted correctly but continues to be rejected?
Okay, so the first thing I would recommend, if you're following those instructions that I just showed you in this presentation, if you're following that and it's not in as account hyphen number, it's truly saying account underscore number, I would create a CTN given the case number and the ICN number to your outlier, so we can submit that over to Alliant Health and have them look at it. But what we did identify, Bill, was the providers were sending it in. The format is correct. It was on the Excel spreadsheet that was needed. However, instead of them using underscore, they were using the hyphen. So that was our biggest thing with that.
Okay. Michael, please let me know if you have any follow-up to your question. I'm just waiting on the chat here.
Okay.
He seems okay. Yeah, he seems okay with that.
Okay.
And then
if it doesn't work for you, please.
Someone else is just asking for the instructions on the IB. For where are your instructions for the IB?
It's in the presentation. So this presentation that we're going over now.
Okay.
You see that snapshot in there. It's also in the presentation that pertains to the outliers from the Medicaid hospital fair that was in 2016. You can also find that information in the manual. and I want to say it's the Part 1 Policy and Procedure Manual. And if you type in outliers, it should show you there as well. So we have it in a couple of presentations as well as in the manual.
Okay, and they can always reach out if they have other questions.
Yes.
Okay.
But just follow that first.
Yep.
And don't forget about your timely filing, because if you sit on it and you don't let 90 days pass, you've lost it.
Yep. Okay. Can I move to slide 12? Or you were going to talk about schemes, the fraudulent schemes involving banking information?
Yeah, that's what I did. I did that.
Okay. Okay.
When I was basically stating the importance of attending the workshop.
Okay.
Okay, so on slide 12, that's just basically giving you all the information on the different territories based on county. So for anyone that is not aware of their territories, it's available for you. And it's always in the presentations that we do. So you'll always have that.
Okay.
Slide 13.
Janie, hang on for me just a minute. I want to come back and close the loop on the question that involved Alliant Health. So the message coming back from Alliant Health that they're getting on those IBs is file uploaded successfully, error parsing Excel file. The submitted Excel file is not in the required format per the DCH Hospital Policy Manual, Appendix L. Please check the file for the incorrect formatting tab, label, and worksheet naming requirements. However, in this particular instance, the IB is formatted correctly to what Medicaid is requiring, but they continue to get the denial message. So any thoughts or feedback on that?
Yes, have them send you that case number and the ICN.
Yeah.
With their contact information. And what we'll do is we'll send it over to Alliant Health and have them review it, and then we'll get back with them, with that provider to let them know exactly what it is.
Sure. And Michael, please remember to encrypt any PHI. I don't want that to be potentially exposed from your organization. So be sure to secure that if you can.
Right.
So, yep.
Because they can just put on there, hey, Bill, this is in reference to outliers.
Right.
The case number is 23456. The ICN number is whatever it is.
Yep.
And my contact information. That's all I need.
Yep. Okay. I'm on slide 12 with the territory map.
Slide 13 now.
Any further clarification on that? That's good to know. Okay, here are all your contacts. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what that is. So every territory has its own rep that handles all other categories of service, excluding hospital. So where you see at the bottom, it says North Hospital Rep, Mrs. Sharita Bentley. She handles hospital inpatient, outpatient only, from territory 1 to territory 5, along with these other reps. So they'll handle your physicians, your DME, your SNF claims. All of the other claims is handled by these reps that you see here. Okay, and I will be the rep that handles your South, which is territory 6 through 10. Okay, slide 14 for me, Bill, please.
Okay.
These are our statewide consultants. So sometimes there's a lot of things that's going on to where you may not be able to reach myself or Sharita, or we may be unavailable. However, we have 3 statewide consultants that will be there to assist us anytime it's needed. So the names are, as you see here, Ms. Brenda Hewlett, Ms. Sheree Daniels, and Mr. Danny Williams. I'm sure it's some of you all that remember Danny from being a field rep. Well, he's been promoted, and he is now a statewide consultant. So we say kudos to Danny for that.
Yeah.
And if it comes to
Danny.
where, yes, yes. And if it comes to where they're tied up and unable to assist, we have two wonderful in-house reps that is there to help us anytime we need it. And that's Kaylin White and Haley Guyton. So we say kudos to them as well. So now we're going to slide 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so slide 15 is just letting you know how, you can contact us. It tells you through the IVRS system, the provider contact center, everything starts with GAMIS, and you know about us, your reps. Slide 16. So when you begin this process, if you're utilizing the IVRS system, you know that's through the GAMIS portal. And the phone number that you see is what's available for you. You have a selection of options from 1 to 6 to select. Okay, so then you're not on hold for a lengthy amount of time. I haven't heard any complaints about this in a while, so I'm assuming this is working properly for everyone. Slide 17.
Okay.
So on this slide, we tell you that the contact center is there to assist with inquiries regarding the claim status, your eligibility, authorization, remittance advice, and so on, okay? The contact center is available, again, at the phone number that you see, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We always ask our providers to start with the contact us. You can either do it by creating the CTN or you can call the contact center yourself. But that should always be your first point of contact. Do not submit the emails out because everything we do, guys, has to be monitored. We got this pandemic going on. The majority of us are working from home. Well, I know everyone at Gainwell is working from home. So we have to be held accountable for the work that we do, as well as audits are done based on the responses that we give. So if you create a CTN, and in that CTN, you state no one has called you back on it and it's been 3 months, and you already have that CTN documented in your system under that member's information, we can pull that CTN and we can either say, well, yeah, you did receive a response that said either they didn't have enough information to complete it, or your claim was submitted for reprocessing, or the denial is correct, and you just have to go on with the next step. But that's the importance of that. Okay, so please, please remember that. Always start off with the contact us, either through the link or making the call, not the email. So, Janie, well, how do we contact you directly? We're on slide 18. So this is how you contact us directly. And you're going to log on to the MMIS system using your username and your password, as you see here. On slide 19, Bill,
Yep.
it will open up and you would then go into the web portal, as you see there. Slide 20, Bill.
Okay.
Boom, as they say. There's your contact us. You're going to click that link. Slide 21. You're either going to utilize contact my provider service rep or request a visit. One or the other is how you get us directly. Okay. Once you select that, slide 22. Oh, okay. So that's what it gives. Okay, but let me just go a little bit more into that. Once you select that slide, please make sure that you fill out everything on there to say ICN number denied for whatever it did, and you need us to review it. Please, please provide us with your contact information, meaning a phone number or a valid email address. If it's a phone number, please make sure that it's a phone number that we can call you back on. Okay? The email address, again, let it be a valid email address so we can respond to you appropriately, but provide us the information that is needed. We're still receiving CTNs that says, hey, we're having some issues. Can someone please contact us? What if your issue is something really major and that's what you're sending us? We have 72 business hours to respond to you. That's not 3 days. Okay, because our hours is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So make sure that you give us enough information where we have time to research it, and upon us researching it, we can provide you with an accurate answer or an accurate next step action. Okay.
Jamie, is there a link within the site? Is there a link within the site for the upcoming workshop?
Yes.
To register?
When they log on to the system, they see the banner messages. And there's a banner message out there that says the provider enrollment workshop is taking place for this month.
Great.
So they just click into it, they complete the registration, and they'll receive a response back telling them what link, what time, that they select, because there's 2 times that's available. You have a 10 o'clock and a 1 o'clock.
Okay.
But I think that's really beneficial for them to attend.
Okay. And that just about wraps up your presentation, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it does.
We appreciate you so much. You did a great job. Let me just ask the group before I show them a couple other things. Let me see if anybody else has any more questions for Janie. Are you finding if you are having to use the IVR rather than through the website, are you getting the answers to your questions? Are you having any challenges with response times? Anything like that? We like to keep them updated on how that's going. Let us know if that's going well. What other questions do you have for Janie today? Wow, I guess you kind of covered it all. You must have done pretty well.
But I do apologize. I apologize for the hiccups. I was sharing with Bill, I cannot wait for us to go live, because if we're live, we don't have all these technical challenges.
Yeah, it is. And I apologize too. It's been frustrating, but we'll figure it out. It's, we want to get the information out there to folks and keep this communication thing going. So, Janie, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but just from your perspective, or any of the folks that are listening from your team on the call, are there any items that you feel like you deal with more often than not, or have you addressed most of those in this presentation, as far as some of the common issues that providers seem to be having?
Yeah, those are the things that we addressed.
Okay.
The inpatient Part B only claims and the outliers with that itemized bill.
Yep. Hopefully the state is allocating a little more money toward Medicaid for the coming year, and and That will help you, which in turn will help providers. Somebody asked about the presentations, and I was just going to share real quick how you can find these presentations a little bit later. So let me share that with folks. You should see the screen right now. This is the Georgia HFMA website, georgiahfma.org. And on this screen, there is a tab across the top, and under media, it says document library. And if you click on document library and you scroll down, we have an in case you missed it section. I'll double click on or single click on in case you missed it. And we will have a new 2022 tab or folder created that will house the presentations from this week's payer forum. So again, you'll go to georgiahfma.org. You'll go over to the media tab across the top, click on document library. That'll bring you to this. You'll go down to the in case you missed it section. We'll create a 2022 folder. Give us probably till the end of the week, beginning of next week to have that created. And the presentations that you'll listen to today will be covered at that time. So I hope that that's helpful. Let me see. Any other questions for the folks at Gainwell Technologies? Let's see here. Will the site phone calls that used to happen once or twice a year start back up? We used to meet with Janie on site, and then they went to phone calls. Are you scheduling those regularly, Janie? At this point, the phone calls, and you're not back out in person yet, right?
Right. But we're still having conference calls. So if you're a provider and I have not met, we haven't had a conference call, then yeah, something has happened within that. But we still schedule our conference calls, and we're doing those quarterly. So if you're a provider and I haven't spoken to you in a while, it's either you've changed the person that was your contact for me to communicate with, or we had a meeting and something happened to where we couldn't continue it, and I probably sent you something saying, let me know when we need to reschedule. But always create that CTN, request the conference call, and we can make that happen. But we never stop that, and we won't get back out in the field until DCH has uplifted the emergency for us to travel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions come in at this time. Hang on just a minute. Yep, we've got somebody that's going to reach out and create one and have you and schedule one with you. So sounds good.
Great.
Yeah, Janie, it's always good to talk with you, and I appreciate you and your team's support of our payer forums. And we know that you're only a phone call away, but I know you encourage people to use the GAMUS website to access a lot of the resources and to submit some of the questions or issues that they might be having. And as we hear items kind of bubble up, through the HFMA network or whatever, we will certainly be glad to bring them to y'all's attention. But we appreciate your support of Georgia HFMA. We appreciate your support of Georgia providers. And just thank you so much for your participation today.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you all even, thinking about us to involve us in these provider panels. I think that is something that's really important, for providers to always attend. And honestly, with the communication we have available for providers, it may be some things that they may run into issues with, but the majority of what you do, if you're attending workshops, webinars, and having your quarterly meetings, you shouldn't run into a lot of issues. However, if you do, we're still here. But
Yep.
please, please, if it's workshops that you miss attending, go back and pull those presentations, read them. And once you read it, if you're still confused or you still have questions, create the CTN. Hey, I was looking over the inpatient Part B only presentation. However, I still have some concerns. Can we schedule a call? You know, and give a couple of the ICN numbers to the concerns that you may have. So myself, Sharita, Kaylin, or Haley can review those so we can be ready, you know, for the meeting that we schedule for you.
Right. Right. Okay. Just wanted to thank all of the attendees for today's session. Thank you to all of you also for your support of Georgia HFMA. We want to be a valuable resource for you. One date of notice coming up, May 4th through the 6th, the Georgia chapter of HFMA is hosting our spring conference up in the hotel at Avalon up in Alpharetta, Georgia. We'd like to invite you to participate. You can find more information on the social media pages as well as through the chapter website. Tomorrow, we've got Palmetto GBA lined up to present to us. On Wednesday, we've got United Healthcare lined up to talk with us. And then on Thursday, we've got Anthem Blue Cross. And on Friday, we've got Centene, which is primarily going to be Ambetter. And then also Humana is participating right after that. So we've got a 1 to 2 session on Friday and also a 2 to 3 session on Friday. So I appreciate it, y'all. Thank you so much for participating. And that will conclude today's payer forum for Medicaid, Gainwell Technologies. Thank you again to all.
Thank you. And you all have a blessed week and stay safe.
Thanks, Janie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.